60th year, assisted by Steve Hall, Greg Gary, Rodney Crawford. Jason Bird is the Director of Basketball Operations, Vic Bauer the trainer, and Dennis Kachurik is the strength and conditioning coach. The Dukes go at the guards with P.J. McConnell, a freshman, 6 feet 170 from Char Valley, averaging 11.4 scoring, 3.9 boards, 4.6 assists a game. Leads the team with 48 steals, leads the Atlantic 10 with a 2.9 steal per game average. His running mate at guard, another freshman, Mike Talley at 5'10", 170 from Detroit, 7.7 scoring, 2.5 assists a game. Bill Clark, leading scorer, a senior, 6'5", 210 from Redondo Beach, California, 17.2 a game, 6.6 boards, 2.7 assists. B.J. Montero, junior, 6'5", 210 from Waterbury, Connecticut, 10.4 scoring, 4.3 boards, 22 block shots. And Damian Saunders, returning first-team All-Atlantic 10 and Defensive Player of the Year, senior, 6'7", 210 from Waterbury, Connecticut, 12.4 scoring, 7.4 boards, leads the team in block shots with 44 and steals with 31. The Dukes are 12-5 on a 7-game winning streak, 4-0 Atlantic 10 league play, first time ever in those positions. Home, they're 7-2, away 5-2, neutral 0-1. And the officials assigned to work this ball game, Eric Anderson, Mike McCloskey, and John Baraka. Glad you could join us on FM News Talk 104.7 and RedZoneMedia.com.
Welcome back, Greg Linnelli at the Palumbo Center. Duquesne up 39-30. This halftime player interview brought to you by Schneider Downs. Schneider Downs, learn what insight, innovation, and experience can do for your company. Here's the interview I had with Rodrigo Peggau earlier in the week. Pretty interesting. Here it is, FM News Talk 104.7. First off, let's just talk about this season just in general. A lot of new guys for the Dukes this year, and obviously off to a really great start. Talk about this team's chemistry and so far this season for the Dukes.
Well, I think I have a pretty young team, and it's been working well so far. We have a ton of guards, and that's I think that's what we need. We need more speed, and it's been working well for us.
I know you're a guy that wants to get out there and play, but it seems like throughout your career a little bit, it's been sidetracked by some injuries. Talk about how frustrating that's been for you and kind of where you are right now, health-wise, and helping this team get to where they want to go.
No, I'm 100% right now, and I'm just waiting for the right opportunity to get back in there because we have chosen to play a little small now, a little faster. But as soon as that opportunity comes again, I'm going to be ready for it.
Is that a little bit more difficult as a player to try and be focused when you're not playing, or do you just look at it and say, you know what, that's just part of the job, and I have to go hard in practice and just get the rest there?
That's what we have to do. We do it every day in practice. We know every play, we know every situation that's going to happen, and we just got to wait for it.
Let's talk about some of those injuries you've had, because I know especially when you first got here to Duquesne, I think you had like a 4-game stretch where you were really productive. You had some good minutes, putting up some points, and then you have season-ending knee surgery on December 18th. And talk about how frustrating that's been and what you're able to do, mentally to kind of stay sharp.
I can tell you something. Whenever I had my surgery, the doctors usually said that, Rodrigo, you'll never be able to play basketball again. So just the fact that I'm back in the court, that's definitely something. But it is frustrating because I've never been the same like I was before. You just battle through it, and it's life. There are ups and downs. You just gotta keep your staying. Don't be too happy like with the ups and don't downs to downs. So
how did you take that news, and what did you do to kind of prepare yourself to say, you know what, I am going to make it back?
Oh, I was down. I was really frustrated, and one of the big factors was our athletic training staff, because they're always there with me, and it was always a positive attitude every day when I came to the gym. And I was down, and I was upset, and they say, no, let's just work through it, and let's see what happens. Let's take this 9 months, day by day, see what happens. And the first, I would say, 3 or 4 months, it was tough, but it came through it. I'm back playing again, and I'm happy.
Rodrigo Peggau joining us here on our halftime show. Well, talk to us about what your game and what you bring to the table. Energy, athleticism. Talk to us about what you like to do once you're on the basketball court.
Honestly, I like to hit people. I feel like a football player in a basketball court.
All right.
And, that's my favorite stuff to do. I like to set screens. I like to prepare my team to just give a good shot to my teammates. Academics
is something you take very seriously. Talk to us where you are right now academically.
I'm actually graduating this semester now. It's a good opportunity because I'm graduating 3 years, and I'm really happy about it, especially because I just learned a language about 4 years ago. So that's something that I've really accomplished. I'm really happy about it. It's a personal goal.
How much hard work went into that? Because a lot of kids, sometimes it takes 5, maybe even a little longer to graduate.
Yeah, I set myself usually with some good goals that I can perfectly
talk to us how you got to, just playing basketball in general. Was it obviously from Brazil? Was it something that you moved with your family over to the States? Just talk to us about the journey that got you to Duquesne.
Well, actually, my family's still in Brazil. And I came when I was junior in high school. I was playing basketball in Brazil, and I started when I was 10 years old, like mostly everybody. And I was playing in Brazil, and I was playing for the national team. And some of the college scouts were in Brazil watching some games, and I somehow got some ladders and interests from the coaches, and I ended up in a high school in here, and that's how everything started in the States. Was
there a chance that you were just going to stay in Brazil if not for basketball?
Well, I always wanted to go to college, and I knew that, the United States always provided a great education system, and I wouldn't have the same opportunities back in Brazil, so I just decided to come, especially because of the free education. I always try to take advantage of the opportunities that are given, and it's been working well.
Absolutely. What was that like, leaving your family?
Well, I left home when I was 14 to play basketball in a different city, so it was already, it wasn't a big shock in terms of leaving home, but the new culture and the new language and the new people was just, I find it interesting. I find it awesome. Most people don't like to leave home. Nothing against my family, of course, but I like this whole adventure, I call it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It's something new every day.
It opens up your eyes, doesn't it?
Yeah, new life perspective.
What other colleges were looking at you when you were playing in Brazil?
The first instance that I got was Texas A&M, and that's actually the whole reason why I came to the United States. And all of a sudden I was playing AAU, I was playing everything, and then I got injured the first time, and everything went down. And I ended up at James Madison. I signed with James Madison. The coaching staff actually got fired during the summer that I was coming in. So there was I looking for colleges again, and then Coach Everhart came through. But mostly it was St. Louis, George Mason, Mississippi State, and then Duquesne and Marshall.
What was that relationship with Coach Everhart before, and what was it like after? And just take us through that whole situation when that coaching staff was let go.
During recruiting, I didn't really know Coach Everhart at all. I was going to James Madison. I was pretty sad, pretty happy about it. And all of a sudden they got fired, and I ended up I was actually talking to Coach Bobby Crimmins, and he's a pretty good friend with Coach Everhart. And somehow I got connected to Coach Everhart, and that's when everything started. He called me, and it was a pretty good relationship right away. And I visited Duquesne. I loved it. I didn't hesitate to sign the papers.
How much did it help you go into a prep school? Because you went to what, Lenore, North Carolina?
Yeah, well, the reason why I went there is because of English. I came with literally no English. It was not even basketball then. It was just to learn the language and get my grades, my SAT scores, and to try to come to college. And it's a great experience because it was the smallest school I've ever been in my life. My graduating class was 17, I believe.
Wow.
Yeah, we had 58 or 59 students in the entire school. It was pretty interesting.
Before we let you go, I wanted to ask you this, because this caught my eye when I was reading your bio. And now you practice jiu-jitsu. Is this correct? You practice Brazilian jiu-jitsu. So the question becomes, how big is Royce Gracie, and is that a guy that you looked up to more than maybe any other athlete ever?
The guy's a legend. The guy's definitely a legend, and that's something that every Brazilian do, technically. But those were fun times of my life, I'm not going to lie. Really fun times. Yeah.
If somebody's try to egg you on, and they see obviously you're a big guy, 6'8", 230, 240, but they don't know that you know a little jiu-jitsu. I mean, what would that be like, Rodrigo?
We always play in the locker room. We always wrestle in the locker room and stuff. And
does anybody ever get you down? Does anybody ever get you down?
Well, that's the difference because they don't know that being on the ground is actually a good thing.
Right.
It's a ground fight. So whenever I'm on the ground, actually, it's a good thing because I know the moves. So it's fun. Like we've played around before, and I won a couple, I lost a couple, but it depends. When they team up with me, that's the hard part.
Hey, Rodrigo, thanks so much for coming on, giving our audience, our Duquesne audience, and anybody listening, a little sense of what makes you Rodrigo Peggau. We really appreciate it. We'll talk to you pretty soon. Thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
You got it. All right, that is Rodrigo Peggau. We'll take a break. He's the game. We're up next. Good kid, isn't he? Pretty interesting stuff. Back here, FM News Talk 104.7.
At Duquesne University, we are mindful that stepping up to serve others is as important as striving for success. That getting ahead means nothing without giving from the heart. And that within each of us dwells a spirit that unites all of us, with an unwavering focus on helping others and making a lasting impact on the community we call